Well, one of the concerns I had is looking at some of the notes is some of Sherry's friends said that you and her were having a problem because of the John situation.
Well, number one, I don't know who her friends are. Because again, I don't recall if he did tell me where he met her. I don't know even who these friends are. A problem, like I said, if I spoke to her, I mean, I'll go on as far as a limb, and I don't even want to say I spoke to her 5 times because that's probably not even true. I can't even remember. Again, did I meet him at her place when he lived on Roscoe for I think quite a while, but I couldn't tell you how long he lived on Roscoe. And the only reason I remember the place now is because it's like a huge dope place now where they, it may have been back then, but maybe we didn't know back then. I could have met her there. I could have,
All right, Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, so this is gold medal winner, extreme turtling, and extreme lip retraction at the same time. I don't care who you are. I don't think you've ever seen turtling and lip retraction at this level. If you have, you need to show me the evidence, because I guarantee you've never seen it this big. This is Olympic level. This is gold medalist. This is as good, as big as it can ever get. So I just want to lay that down there as a competition. If you have bigger turtling, bigger lip retraction, you got to send us that information, because it does not exist. This is as big as it gets. The other lovely piece of this, I think, is this, I think, setup of a tactic here of saying the area that they lived in was well dodgy.
Huge dope place now where they, it may have been back then, but maybe we didn't know back then.
We certainly know that now. Hey, maybe the police didn't know it at the time. Hey, maybe the police have still missed something about what's been. Maybe the police are just. Maybe we're a little bit inept around this. So I think there's a clever little maneuver, doesn't last for too long, of suggesting, look, they lived in a bad area. That's why she got killed, and the police are pretty inept. They probably missed something. Go out and search again, start the investigation, stop looking here, nothing to look at over here. Greg, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, I agree with you. She's walking through this whole thing. We talk about her turtling. Look at that outlet plate or switch plate behind her now and go back and compare it to number 1. Her head is about that far lower than it was in the beginning. I love the fact it's a static camera and she's in the corner and she just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Scott, you say people look like Muppets. She's going to look like a Muppet here shortly. Her little body is going to be flailing around over there. She does a nervous laugh. She turtles. She drops her head down. Her chin protects her throat. Then she does all this emphatic hand movement and she starts to chaff and redirect that she's been masterful at. It's starting to creep into her language. She challenges the validity of the witness.
I don't know even who these friends are.
And then she challenges the neighborhood, to your point, Mark.
And the only reason I remember the place now is because it's like a huge dope place now.
What she's doing is casting doubt on the entire thing. Did it ever happen? I don't know. I didn't know these people. And I think this is just her. And then she does that Trump movement. If you remember Trump when he was running for the nomination, before he was running for president, when people would say something to him, he'd go, and make a goofy face is kind of a deflection move. She's doing exactly that. I think all that face has been what she's done her entire life, and she's just gotten away with it. Then she goes to, I don't recall how many times I met her.
I'll go on
4. I'll go on a limb and say 5. Look at her respiration, her blink rate. She's a squirrel in the road right now. She's running back and forth and trying to figure out what's next. Scott, what do you got?
All right. I think she's retreating further into her, what I'm going to call her protection personality. When I talked about earlier where she's done this 1,000 times and she's getting further back in there. That's why I see it. Her eyes are glazed over a little bit. Her face is getting a little bit more red. And she's in the only protection mode she knows as these emotions are just bouncing around inside her. She's trying to get a hold on them. We're seeing the lip compression. Again, that denotes she's holding back information, and it could be stress, but in this case I think she's holding back information. The eye scratch is an adapter. You can say 2 or 3 things about that, but I think that's what we're looking at there. I don't think she's trying to look like she doesn't understand. And there's no loping. She's usually loping when you just start talking about something. This is the complete opposite of that. She's just these really short, choppy 2 or 3 words at a time, and it just goes on and on and on.
A problem, like I said, if I spoke to her, I'll go on as far as a limb.
When they start talking about the problem, her chin completely covers her neck. That what Mark's talking about the turtling, it's just incredible. You'd think she'd know better. Somebody at some point would have said, here's why we think this person is this. We'll watch what happens with the chin. And even from a subtle aspect of that, she would go, okay, I better not do that. She's not, she may be smart, I don't know, but man, she should know better than that at this point. She's getting further and further down. Like Greg was saying, if you watch where she is, she's getting shorter and shorter, making herself smaller, trying to hide. Now, when you adjust in your chair, somebody says something, then you adjust and start talking. If you're asked a question about whether you're being deceptive or not, or if something's happened, asking you about it, that shows you something bothers them there. So we're seeing that as well. It's not the only time we see it. We see it a couple of times, but this is a special one, I think, because of the situation she's in. So anytime somebody asks you something or asks someone something, you see them kind of scoot around their chair or adjust a little bit, that's when you know something's up, because it does 2 or 3 things. It helps you, it gives you a little bit of time to think as you're scooting. It instantly gives you 2 or 3 seconds or 2 seconds probably. And that's all you need to get in there and start thinking, because your brain works really quickly, a lot quicker than your mouth works. Now, I'm under the impression that your brain works just as fast as your mouth does. That's why I talk so fast. But in this case, that's why she's adjusting, to get a little bit more time to think. When he said, when you're having problems, she laughs because she's trying to diminish that situation when he talks about the problem anyway. So she's trying to make that look small, not that big a deal at all. Still trying to defend that as she goes back to these chunks of the story that she's trying to tell, and the information they've given her as she's put in these boxes, she's trying to remember what they are and then go back and protect those as she goes along. Chase, what do you got?
Yeah, you guys got just about everything I had here. She's unable to answer at first, which I think is a very good data point here. You're going to see her attempt to illustrate her response as she's still trying to come up with the words there.
Well,
the second part of this is this willingness to become more expressive on the face feels helpful to her. But when a real emotion comes up that's actually powerful, it takes over the face. And it tends to take over the face because she's already allowing the face to be expressive, so the real emotions can come out a little more clearly. And that's why we're seeing duality of facial expression. Now, maybe I'll come up with a cool name for that. I don't know. And Greg, one of the things that you were talking about with Trump, with this kind of this backwards face, this is also, if you go on YouTube and type in people getting the crap scared out of them compilation, that's the face you see. That's that kind of head back from something that's scaring somebody, like somebody pops out of a trash can or something. That's what you're going to see. But I think we have the face expressions of Trump, and we have the eyes of Hillary Clinton. That kind of like this kind of look while she's listening to someone, the whites of the eyes are come out. So we have the eyes of Clinton and the face of Trump, which is a fantastic combo. But keep in mind, she's expending a massive amount of nervous energy, and keep in mind that she is a cop. So the presence of 2 probably junior people are not necessarily intimidating. It's the situation and this looming elephant in the room that not even she has yet had the courage to bring up, for fear of something coming out before she was able to determine what the story was, what the angle was, and how much these people knew. I'm going to leave it at that. You guys got a whole lot. That's all I got.
Well, one of the concerns I had is looking at some of the notes is some of Sherry's friends said that you and her were having a problem because of the John situation.
Well, number one, I don't know who her friends are, because again, I don't recall if he did tell me where he met her. I don't know even who these friends are. A problem. Like I said, if I spoke to her, I mean, I'll go on as far as a limb, and I don't even want to say I spoke to her 5 times, because that's probably not even true. I can't even remember. Again, did I meet him at her place when he lived on Roscoe for, I think, quite a while, but I couldn't tell you how long he lived on Roscoe. And the only reason I remember the place now is because it's like a huge dope place now, where they, it may have been back then, but, maybe we didn't know back then. I could have met her there. I could have,
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.